I recently watched The Housemaid at the cinema. I love thrillers and gripping films, and this one was intense and at times overwhelming, with moments that were genuinely hard to watch. However, I couldn't help noticing the gender dynamics playing out on screen, and I want to comment on that in this video. There will be spoilers, so if you don't want to know what happens, stop watching now. My name is Zarina Matcha, and you're watching The Rational Female. If you enjoy my content, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel. The story follows a young woman named Millie, who takes a job as a housemaid for a wealthy couple, Nina and Andrew, who have a small daughter named Sissy. From the very beginning, I had a feeling that something was off and that Nina wasn't quite the pleasant woman we were first introduced to. The first scene that shocked me is when Nina had a raging outburst, yelling and smashing things. I initially wondered if she might be bipolar, and it's later revealed that she was psychotic and had been sectioned in hospital. As someone who has experienced psychosis and was hospitalized, I didn't love this portrayal. Mental illness is often reduced to crazy or unstable behavior, when in reality, many people with mental health conditions are decent, functional individuals who simply happen to be ill. Psychosis, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia still carry heavy stigma. Yet those who live with these conditions are often ordinary people who need support, and many go on to live completely normal lives. As the film progresses, Nina becomes increasingly cruel to Millie, constantly snapping at her, while Andrew appears to be the comforting, loving husband. I actually found this dynamic interesting, and I hoped the film would fully explore it. I was wrong. Predictably, Millie and Andrew begin an affair, and Andrew tells Nina to leave the house and take their child. Andrew and Millie start a relationship, and we learn that Millie spent 10 years in prison for murder before landing the housemaid job. Then comes the inevitable twist. Andrew locks Millie in the attic, and it's revealed that he had been doing the same thing to Nina. He psychologically and physically abused her, leading others to believe she was mentally ill and deserving of hospitalization. In reality, Andrew was the villain all along, a deeply manipulative man who abused both women. The film ends with Millie killing Andrew while she and Nina watch him die. They move on with their lives, and Millie becomes a housemaid for another family. During her interview, the new wife calmly mentions that her husband is difficult while we see bruises on her arm. Here's where I have some gripes. This is a story we've seen many times: the evil, abusive man and the innocent woman. I've even written a novel about domestic violence myself with a male abuser. It's a common theme because we hear about it so often. But we rarely see the reverse, despite the fact that domestic abuse is perpetrated by women as well. Personally, I would have preferred a more morally complex setup, perhaps both Andrew and Nina being in the wrong, rather than a straightforward villain and victim narrative. An example that handles complexity well is Shutter Island, one of my favorite films. The protagonist discovers that his manic depressive wife killed their children, and he then murders her. It frames him as a tragic figure rather than a simple monster, which is far more compelling. Stephen King's The Shining also portrays Jack Torrance as tragic in the novel, not purely evil like in Kubrick's adaptation. Of course, evil men exist. I've known a few myself. But storytelling benefits from balance, and that includes showing women behaving badly too, rather than consistently avoiding accountability for female wrongdoing. Although I enjoyed The Housemaid, I was uncomfortable with the familiar reveal. The man is evil and the women are victims. Why couldn't Nina have been genuinely unstable? Why not make Millie a morally ambiguous heroine? Neither woman is conventionally good, yet Andrew's abuse positions them as the characters we automatically root for. A film that brilliantly flips this trope is Gone Girl. It subverts audience expectations by revealing the husband as innocent and the wife as the true villain. It's a refreshing look at the abuse of female power, and Amy Dunn is a great antagonist. I've explored similar themes in my novel Every Last Psycho, which contains two stories about complex women, one with schizophrenia and another about a female psychopath. I've published 21 books, and I'm drawn to multifaceted male and female characters. Capturing the complexity of human nature is endlessly fascinating to me. I'd like to see more stories where men, or women, are victims of female abuse, not for shock value, but because it reflects reality, adds balance, and ultimately makes for more interesting storytelling.